is there an older maxim on Wall Street than don't fight the Fed? Is it time to fight the Fed? And what would that even mean, given that even if they're talking tough, they may not have too much more to do?
Well, I think you hit it there. I mean, let's not take Chairman Powell's words as gospel, because here's a man who, as we all know, a year ago stood at the same podium and said inflation was not a problem. Here's a man who, in congressional testimony, told us we don't think money matters. Our studies have shown money doesn't matter. Then it proceeded to explode the money supply at the greatest rate in our history. Here's a man a year ago who said we're not even thinking about raising interest rates. And most troubling was in response to the last four FOMC meetings, in the Q&A period, he was asked, is the policy going to cause a recession? He said, no, we're just going to reduce the number of job openings, to bring them into balance with the demand. Now, what has happened in the last 3 or 4 weeks? Actually, in the last month, and this is an interesting fact, 90% of the price indices that have been released have been below market expectations. So he suddenly acts as if things gotten a lot worse. Well, what is he looking at? Did he tell us? What is his guidelines now for bringing inflation down? Is he looking at sensitive commodity prices? Is he looking on the ground prices? Right. I just found it a very unsatisfactory description, almost like, yeah, we messed up, we're way too loose, and now we're going to be Mr. Tough Guy. Okay, but where is the hard evidence?
Well, but in fairness, Jeremy, he has always said that there was a risk that a soft landing was not going to be the outcome. He used the term soft-ish, so that was never a promise. They've been acting as if they have a sole mandate, which is to get inflation down. They also, for months, have been saying it would require a few months of persuasive evidence of declining inflation. We haven't had a few months of declining headline or core inflation yet. So I guess the point is maybe all he wanted to do on Friday was to make sure the market didn't get out ahead of that in a way that loosened financial conditions enough that their job becomes more difficult afterward.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. He never promised it, and we can debate about whether it's possible or not, but he did use the words there's going to be, pain for the consumer, for the worker, like now we're really going to raise unemployment. Never made those terms before. Listen, the inflation is eating away at American savings. It's eating away at the real wages. And now, because of the mistakes that the Fed made, in my opinion, bad mistakes, we're not going to cause you some more unemployment. I understand that. On the ground, not the official statistics. On the ground, prices have slowed dramatically. And I would like him to acknowledge that we're looking at some forward-looking indicators rather than not even specifying which indicators he's looking at. Now, you're right. He wouldn't want to say we're ready to pivot and then we go to the races again. But Mike, I looked at the money supply because that told us how much inflation we're going to get. We've had a decline over the last 4 months. There's only been 1 or 2 other occasions in the last 75 years where we have restricted liquidity this greatly. So look at the strength of the dollar, what we see on the ground on sensitive commodity prices, real estate prices on the ground are not going up again. Money supply is tight. My feeling is he has 100 basis points to go, and now and that they will ease next year. To sort of tell us we're going to have more pain, to me was a far too negative message. And honestly, his forecasting ability has, lost my credibility. And I don't know about the street. Is he going to make a mistake by tightening too much? Now, he did mention monetary policy works with a lag. If he waits for the official statistics to really start coming down to 2%, he will over-tighten. and he'll make the same mistake on the downside as he made on being too slow on restricting liquidity in 2021 and early 2022.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that is basically what my concerns are.